You could be building muscle almost twice as fast right now. I've been training for over 12 years, tried so many different methods, and it's so easy to overcomplicate things and get lost in the process. So what I'm going to do is use my knowledge and experience and break the process down into simple training blocks so that you can understand this. In fact, you would have seen a lot of these exercises that I'm going to be using. Before we get into this, I just want to highlight that whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced trainer, you will benefit from this video. So stay tuned with me and let me teach you how to build muscle in the simplest way. I always advise warming up first before training. A warm-up prepares you for the movement you are about to do. The best warm-up is usually a regressed version of the exercise you're going to be performing, often done with higher reps to pump more blood into the muscles and get them ready for work. So we're keeping it nice and simple. Let's get started from the start. Before any exercise, you want to warm up. How do we warm up? Question that's always asked. What you want to do is you want to basically pick the movement you're about to do, which is a bench press, and find the regressed version of it. All right, I feel warm. There's blood in the muscles, so you can probably start to see a bit of a pump. Let's talk about exercise selection. What I'll usually do is put all our bigger movements first, as they require a lot of energy, but will also recruit most of our muscle fibers. Overall, we want to make sure that we are on full tank when we approach these movements. The key things we are looking for during exercise selection are how we can perform a great range of motion and how effectively we can execute the movements. Now, this is where being a beginner, intermediate, or advanced trainer plays on. For example, our first exercise we are doing is a dumbbell bench press. If it's something you cannot perform properly as a beginner, we can go onto a machine, which might be a little bit more effective, and also a lot of control is taken out of the movement. For the purpose of this video, we are going to be doing a dumbbell bench press. After we found our exercise, we want to ensure we can perform a great range of motion, which is our step 2. You want to pick an exercise that can take you through the longest range of motion. In order for our muscles to grow, we need them to work hard. Now, how do you get them to work? Okay, I know I said I'll keep it simple, but a little science doesn't hurt, okay, right? So, what is work? Work is force times distance. This just simply means the longer distance we travel while performing the movement, assuming the muscles we are targeting are still under tension, the harder the muscles are going to be working. So, today I picked chest, you guys know, and the exercise selection is our dumbbell chest press. For exercise, it doesn't restrict my range of motion, and that's the reason why I picked it. So, let's talk about range of motion. I've only got 20 kilo dumbbells over here. I'm going to take this through an exercise and show you how we can enhance our range of motion through this workout. Putting the weights over, we're going for about 12 reps for this one. That's our aim. We're going to bring this up and we're going to slow it down on our negative. Very nice, controlled. You can count about 5 to 6 seconds down if you want. Come down as low as possible and up. Remember, I'm using very lightweight for this one. Nice control. 2. Going for 12 reps. Making sure I'm really focused. Feeling good, feeling good. I see a lot of people going to the gym, but they do not hydrate enough, okay? If you want to get a pump in the gym, you have to drink water because a lot of your muscles is actually made up of water. So you're missing out on some great workouts. Plus, there's also a theory that when you are dehydrated, you lose a bit of strength. So you've got every single reason to drink water. And of course, how good does it taste? Yeah! Ooh! Wow! Oh, it's good. Feels good. I can start to feel the blood flowing. I can feel the pump, baby. Let's go. All right, so our next exercise selection, we're always gonna come back to number one, is our incline bench press. Now I've chosen the Smith machine for a specific reason. It's a nice stable piece of equipment. There's also going to be a lot less effort trying to think about stabilizing because it's already got built-in stabilization in there. All I'm gonna do is push up, but it's also a big compound movement. So you're gonna notice my chest, my shoulders, and because I am targeting the upper part of my chest, breaking it down, this is going to actually help me to effectively only think about that part. I'm trying to isolate a bit. However, even though I'm isolating a smaller part of my chest, I am still using a big compound movement. This way the Smith machine is going to be handy. Ideally as well too, if I am a bit tired from my big compound movements, the Smith machine will be awesome because I don't have to spend energy trying to stabilize my body, utilize my core, but I can also still get a great range of motion. So range of motion being number two is very important. With range of motion, we want to go all the way up and all the way down, as I am going to be demonstrating here on our Smith machine incline press. Okay. Now the good thing about not having to control this as much is I can still load this up pretty good, even though I'm working with a great range of motion. Okay. This also brings us to our next one, which is time under tension. With this movement, we want to be going down about 5 to 6 seconds in our eccentric or our negative phase of the movement. Why the eccentric? That is when we get our microscopic tears for muscle building. So I'm going to show you exactly how to execute this movement and also get into position for this movement. That's loud. So when you are working with the Smith machine, especially for this movement specifically, you don't want your hands in too close because when you start to do that, you're going to be focused on working your triceps. You also don't want it too far because you're going to be putting a lot of stress on your pec minors and your shoulders. You want it just right. So what I personally do is try and line up my elbow to my hand. So I don't want my hand too far out or too far in. Just perfectly at 90 over here, okay? Once I found my position, I'm looking up, I'm racking the weight, coming down to the top of my chest, and I can already feel that stretch. Again, that slow movement allows you to really contract and stretch the muscle. So nice control. See how I'm getting that nice full range of motion here? This is very important. Nice full range, down and up. Now when you get down here as well, when it comes to range of motion, you do not want to stop here because you lose momentum. You also lose that tension on the muscle. So what you want to do is, if you are struggling with there, because a lot of people come down and bounce it off, which actually takes a lot of pressure off the muscle, what you can do is when you get to the bottom of the movement, just before your chest, you can pause. So unrack the weight, come down just before your chest, pause. You still are keeping tension on the muscle, and bring it up. Same thing, we've got 12 reps and 4 sets. Oh, that felt good. So, hitting the upper chest, why is it important? I think a lot of people often find that it's very easy to develop the lower part of their chest and the mid part of their chest, but a lot harder to develop the upper part of the chest. Now, going back to exercise selection, as I said before, if you do find your upper part of your chest is a weaker part, you probably want to start with a compound movement that targets the upper. So ideally, you could have actually started with this one or the dumbbell press I did before, however, putting down the slight incline. That way you can exhaust all your energy onto isolating that top part of the muscle. With big compound movements, you recruit more muscle fibers at the same time, and that's gonna help speed up your growth. So that's a little tip here for you. I told you there's gonna be lots of tips in these videos. Stay tuned with me and drink your fucking water. Do you know what? I love a good chest day. There's no better feeling than when you put on your shirt and it fills out, or you go into the beach and you pumped up those beach muscles and they're just like, I don't know, you just feel good. It's just one of those things, like it makes you feel good about yourself. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on chest day. In fact, let me know what your favorite muscle group to... Oh, what just happened? Maybe I've been training too much legs. Need to train more chest. I actually didn't even plan that. I'm breaking all this equipment here. Oh, all right. Let's go. Too much talking. Ooh. Ooh. Another fun fact, if you guys want to cop a singlet like this is from Right Away Apparel, so check them out. All right, so our next chest exercise is a chest fly. This is one of the most common one. In fact, once I said chest, this was probably what was going to be going through your mind. Now, too often people start with this movement. I got nothing against starting with this movement for a warm-up to be able to get a nice stretch, range of motion. However, this exercise doesn't require that much energy and doesn't recruit that many fibers. So it doesn't make sense to start with this movement unless you're training in a way that you pre-exhaust your muscles and then you're reversing it out and finishing off with a compound movement like a bench press. And the last exercise I got for you is special, so I want you to stay with me because you're definitely gonna know this one. But this exercise would have never been as hard as you thought it would have been if you followed this exact training split as well as our tips. All right, so chest fly. Doing this, I've got a mid-range chest fly, so just slightly above my shoulders is what I personally find comfortable. In this movement, we're going to be demonstrating a progressive overload. Progressive overload, basically still taking in all those tips that we did in consideration. So getting a nice range. I like to get a nice little stretch first to feel my chest stretch, and that's how I know how far I can get out of this. Now put my front foot there and then pull. Make sure I retract my deltoid, so shoulders back, and I can feel that chest. Now what you want to do here is get into that position, get a good connection, mind-muscle connection with your chest. While you stretch, you can actually feel that connection with your chest, and then bring it up. Squeeze that chest in the middle. You can see the contraction of the chest. I'm just gonna bring that down so you can see the chest contract, okay? Again, we've got 12 reps. Get that nice control, that's very important. Get the stretch. This is probably one of the best movements for chest where you can actually get a nice full range stretch if you are not using plated machines. So it's very important to maintain good mind-muscle connection. Now, what is mind-muscle connection? It's literally what it is. Connecting your mind and muscle together. That also means you're focused while you're training. Now, it's harder for me to be focused while I am talking, so I'm gonna get into my focus mode, my zone. So if you see me with a resting bitch face in the gym, it's not because I hate you or anything. It's just because I am focused and I'm struggling properly too. All right, so now here's a really important part. After you finish your set, okay, you've hit those 12 reps effectively, you need to be able to challenge yourself, and not just with this exercise. You can do this with all the exercises. In fact, I actually urge you to do that with all the exercise. It doesn't have to be by much, although I am gonna go up by much. Kidding, only by 5 kilos, so it's a nice 5 kilo increment. Makes a massive difference when you are working, okay? Alternatively, if you trained and you felt like those weights weren't too heavy for you, you felt like, you know, you're on, that's the 60%, you can amp it up by like even 10 kilos, you know? For me, with that time and attention, with that control, that felt about 75% for me. So me increasing by 5 kilos makes a lot of sense. So this is what we call our progressive overload. You can progressively overload with basically all the elements I taught you guys before. Our time and attention, where we slow down that. There's other elements like supersets, combined exercise, but we'll talk about that in another video. Let's get straight into our workout. And I'm gonna get my resting gym face and feel that stretch. It's front foot where I feel that stretch. All right, now I'm sure you're wondering why all that screaming through that workout. Look, sometimes you might see someone screaming on small weights in the gym. Just know that one, they're focused. Two, they could also be working with time and attention. So that 2 kilos that you think is light, over the amount of time, when we slow down those movements, that could be a lot heavier. And like I said before, guys, don't take my word for it. Try it out yourself. And let me know in the comments below how pumped you're feeling. All right, let's do some nutrition 101. So it's not just lifting weights in the gym, it continues at home, and I'm sure you guys would have heard that before. So let's talk a little bit about nutrition and our food we eat. Now I'm going to keep this simple again for you, okay? There's something called a maintenance. Now what our maintenance basically is the total amount of energy that we're putting into our body versus the total amount of energy we're expending. The total amount of energy we're putting into our body is basically our food. That could be measured in calories. The total amount of energy that we expending is what we actually get from our training, also something called our NEAT and our BMR, which is basically, you know, our basal metabolic rate, which everyone has and can be calculated. Now, when we reach a maintenance level, okay, this is a balance level, this is where you're not going to be putting on weight. If you want to grow muscle, you have to be in a slight surplus. I'm not saying go on the bulking fest and eat all the Maccas and KFCs and stuff, and everything has to be done in balance. This is why if you have a specific goal, it is important for you to track your macros, and you can also track how much energy you are expending after the day. Now, if we want to build muscle, what we want to focus on is eating a little bit more than our maintenance. This is going to help us with the things our body needs, like our recovery, and it's going to help us build those muscles, because after those muscles are torn and after a solid workout, they do need to recover. They do need to fill up, and this is where the body needs that. Now, our muscle building nutrients, the most important muscle building nutrient is protein. It plays a massive role in recovery as well. Although all nutrients are important, our fats and our carbohydrates, I'm not going to go too in depth with this because I did say I'll keep everything simple. Eating a high amount of protein can help. Now, making sure we're getting enough sleep is really important. Our muscles do not grow while we are awake or while we're lifting weights. Our muscles grow while we are in recovery and while we're actually sleeping. So that's very important for you to get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. This is not only just going to help you with your goals of muscle building, but it will overall make you feel good. All right, such a simple exercise, but it will definitely pull you through your paces if you train well. So now the question I want you to ask yourself is, are you training well? Are you targeting your muscles, or is your joints doing all the work. Are you ego lifting, okay? You might be able to lift the biggest amount of weight. Fine, you might recruit some fibers because you are gonna need to recruit these muscle fibers in order for them to work. How are your joints feeling while you're doing this as well too? Are you putting more of an impact to your joints? Are you starting to feel niggles? It's a great way to train if you have those little minor injuries, as long as it doesn't affect the way you train, of course. So let me do a nice little recap of what we've done today. First of all, we started off with exercise selection from beginner, intermediate, advanced. You guys would know by how hard or easy it is to execute a movement. Now, once we've got exercise that we want to do, we want to take it through a full range of motion. Why a full range of motion? Well, science says so. Science says you can build muscle with going a full range. But also, science also says work equals force times distance. And if we want to work more, which is what we want to do to get those microscopic tears and build muscle, we're gonna have to pull it through a longer range, okay? Then, work the time and attention. Why? Because it is an element of hypertrophy, slowing down those negative or eccentric motions where our muscles are under stretch is where we actually sustain the most amount of microscopic tears. And this is actually just gonna add increased tension. While we were doing that, after exercise sets, imagine we just go through that, fine and okay. Look, we're never satisfied. We had to increase the weight we're lifting. We use a progressive overload technique. Increase the weight slightly. We didn't have to do it by too much, okay? We use our intuition to figure out how heavy we're gonna increase it. If we were unsure, we went with a smaller increase. If we felt that was like a 20–40%, we went with a bigger increase. Next up, we talked about mind-muscle connection. How important it is to ensure that we are actually contracting the muscles. There's a lot of research behind this, but I thought I was gonna keep this video super simple. I wasn't gonna go too much into researches and sciences. That's gonna be for another video. So if you want that, let me know in the comments below and I'll actually explain everything in another video too. Now, by this time we had exhausted ourselves. We had picked our big compound movements. We had picked the targets that we wanted to hit our upper chest as well. We came to the last bit. We picked the simple exercise that a 5-year-old can do, which you can even regress to going on your knees. However, it's a nice big exercise that recruits all your chest, your shoulders, and the full muscle groups. We took this one to failure, and then we wanted to push past failure. We used partials, and this is a great way to really challenge and bend. We call these bend sets and finishes. It's a great way for you to really challenge yourself, get that muscle burn, and really push yourself to those limits. It's not only gonna give you an epic pump as well, you're gonna really work the muscles and pull it through its paces, because if you don't challenge yourself, you ain't growing, okay? You have to actually create something different in order and challenge your muscles in order for you to grow. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are practicing this, saving this video, you know, liking it, sharing it with your mates as well too. Try it out. Don't take my word for it. Let me know how you feel.